Here we go. And happy week after Christmas in August, folks. We're back again. We're back again. You know how sometimes you have this idea and then it just kind of snowballs and it becomes another idea? Well, we had this little ornament pattern that oh, wait, first of all, I have to apologize. I thought we were going to go out and trim our weed bushes this afternoon, so I really am not.
Another gardening thing.
Yeah, our weed bushes, that's a new phrase too. So I didn't quite dress quite appropriately, but you watch what I'm doing, not me. Anyways, so we hit this really cute little ornament pattern, and then I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, remember those placemats we used to do? And we could do that for these ornaments. So we're going to segue into that, but I want to show you these really nice placemats that we used to do 100 years ago.
This is one of those instances of what's old is new again.
That's exactly right. Back 100 years, I mean, I can't even think. I looked for a copyright date on, there's none on here. But Marty Michelle, I don't even know if she's still around, had put out a pattern for their called Country French placemats. And it was when border stripes really started making a resurgence, and it was how to utilize border stripes to make really nice placemats. Some of you may remember this from back in the olden days. So what we're going
We're old like us then.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to make these placemats. They're absolutely wonderful because they are 100% machine stitched. There is no hand binding. There's no whip stitching, any opening closed or anything. They're 100% hand machine done. Not hand, machine done. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with, we're going to do Christmas ones here because we're in the Christmas mode still. So we picked this fabric, which is a nice Christmas fabric, and then we picked another one for the back so that we've got, and they don't have to be coordinating, but what you have to have is you have to have this is going to be our faux binding that kind of looks decent with both sides.
Okay, we got to stop for a second. Sorry about that. Had a little tickle. Had to get rid of it.
Yeah, so Marty just had to have a coughing jag. Anyways, back at the Christmas section here, where were I? Oh, two fabrics, and then what we're going to do is this is going to be our faux binding fabric, kind of it. So when we were doing this, you've got to figure out what size you want your placemat to be. This pattern, which we are going to put as a free download, I forgot about that. We're free download on the website. I am making a few changes to it. I don't know if we're going to be able to redo the pattern, so you are lucky if you watch this rather than reading the thing, all right?
Always lucky if they watch.
Yeah, you're always lucky. So anyways, we're taking this, we're putting batting in it now. We like using fleece, and it's not fleece like a fleece blanket. It's a polyester, a dense batting that we use for a lot of our placemats and table runners. Pellon makes one. That's the one that we carry. There's fusible, non-fusible. Doesn't matter. It's sturdy. It's all on the website, right? So anyways, so what you're going to do is you're going to quilt the pieces, batting, backing, and top. Now, one thing Marty was doing, because we were doing these kind of quickly, yeah. She marked one line on a diagonal. And then this is, we call it an outrigger. I don't know if that's the official term for it. But a lot of your walking feet will have the ability for you to put this little thing through it, and you can shove it back and forth. So whatever distance you want. So after you get your initial line done, this thing is going to just ride right along that previous line and stitch, and then you're going to run it along that line and stitch, so you're not having to mark every line that you go along.
One diagonal in each direction.
Yeah, in each direction, and you can zip right along. Now we decided, just because I don't know why Marty decided, but I would have, we used gold metallic thread on this.
I did it for you.
Thank you, thank you. So anyways, so this is gold metallic on the top, red on the bottom. You don't want to use metallic on both top and bottom. It'll give you grief. So after you've got it quilted, now if you are really going to go into doing a lot of these, you could actually quilt a big piece and then just cut them down into the different sizes you want them. If you want hot pads, you want whatever size you want. So we've got our piece that is our little sandwich here that is quilted, and then it needs to be trimmed because of course you're going to have little raw edges. So that's the next step you're going to do, is trim that. Goes into that pile. Then you're going to take, now this is it's a little bit confusing, but bear with me. You need a piece that is about 72 inches long-ish. It can be a little bit shorter than that. By 3 or 4, whatever you want. I think we cut it 3.5. 3.25. Really? 3.25.
Follow the pattern.
On the pattern. You want it seamless if at all possible, because it's nicer if you don't have any extra seam allowances in it. So back when she designed this pattern, she was of course doing, what's the matter? Something's ringing? Oh, let it ring. Lost my train of thought. Oh, when she designed the pattern, she was using it for a border stripe. Therefore, you did cut it the length of the fabric, so it was not as big of a deal. But now the fact that we are doing these with just a regular fabric, we had to cut a 2-yard chunk, and then we cut our strips length of fabric. That's important, because if not, you will have seams all over the place, and you don't want that. That's what the beauty of this is. So what we're going to do is we have our whatever size width by our 2-yard piece. Now this is where I deviate from her pattern, but you can do it either way. You are going to turn this over about 1/4 inch, and you're going to press this. Now if you have a perfect eye-hand coordination and your thumb is the right width, you can just go right along like this, and you do the whole thing. And you want to try to be pretty consistent, but not to the point where I would sit here with a ruler and measure. Whew, no way. And I apologize for the ironing board is filthy. We obviously fused too many things that shouldn't have been fused. But you see how quick this goes? Ta-da, there's my 1/4 inch pressed down. Okay, now we are going to take our trimmed, this is our mat piece that we trimmed, and we're going to turn it wrong side up. There's not a real wrong side or right, but on this one, this is going to be our back side. Yes, the back side. And I don't know quite why she had you do this, but I'm just doing what she told you. Now, I'm hoping that because we're going to be going a little backwards, and I don't know, Marty, if you need to come behind me.
You want me to do that?
I think that might not be a bad idea.
Okey-dokey.
We are going to do some basic mitering, folks, and I know you're all going, cringe, cringe. Mitering, we have told you before, it's easy peasy, and it is so much more impressive. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece. Now here's our folded down 1/4 inch. Yeah, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, I just lost it. This is what we want to do. This is the end I want. We're going to put the raw edge along it, leaving a little bit beyond up here. You want to leave a skosh. She says 1/2 inch, whatever you do. All right?
Wrong side down?
Nope, this is what you got to do. So now you've got me second guessing myself. No, this is correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to do just like if you were doing a mitered binding on a quilt. You have this lined up nice and straight. You're going to take this up and you're going to flip it up. And you're going to line that up. The fold is lined up here. Do you see how your nice side edges are lined up? You're going to hold that here. And you're going to flip it down to the side.
Okay, not that I'm questioning your authority, but you're sure that you're doing wrong sides together?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
This way, the way you do it this way is, oh, you're skipping ahead a beat. Sorry. Yeah, no, I am correct.
Okay.
I am
just
correct.
wanted to verify,
Okay.
that's all.
Yeah. So now I get to double check that my miter is looking beautiful, nice down here, and I want to make sure that this is lined up there. You don't, can you get quite close? You don't want like that. Do you see how that is not meeting up right there? Yeah, you want that to be a nice. Now, again, she says that do not use pins. Well, yeah, I use pins. Not a lot. But what I like to do, and this is why it's really good to do it on the ironing board, take a pin and just jab it in there. What this is going to prevent is when you go to the next corner that you're not pulling this and distorting this corner. So that's just keeping an eye on you, all right? So now we're going to smooth this down, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Smooth it down, flip it over, or fold it back. Now again, these instructions are on that sheet, so don't worry about it, although you can sit and play me while you are doing your first set. Okay? Yeah, right. Hold it there, flip it up. So you flip it back, you flip it up. Okay? Again, get that corner down there nice. Get this corner up here nice. And make sure that that's in there correctly. And if you have to fuss with it a little bit, you fuss with it. Okay, and I forgot one thing. After you get it where you want it to be, before you pin it or after you pin it, hit it with the iron. Okay? So now I'm over here. I've got it exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to hit it with the iron again. I'm putting a crease in it. I'm actually making a mark for when I stitch. Stick a pin in it so I can't go stretching anything. Fold it down. Sorry to make you, but you got to go through all four corners. Fold it down so it's even up at the top. Flip it back. I can't even imagine how many of these we made back in the old border stripe days. Can you get around?
Yep.
Don't let one of those trees fall on your head. We've already done that before.
Yeah.
Okay. Oops, what?
No, my finger was in the way.
Oh, I thought you shut it off.
Got a little bit of a dinger in the way.
Okay. So get that where it's supposed to be. Hit it with the iron.
That's it.
Yep, I want to get that out of the
Move
way.
it up.
There we go. And I'm hurrying, so I'm not really. Not that I'm hurrying. I've been told not to hurry. And if you get that off, the next step I'm going to show you how we fix it. Okay? Stick the pin in it. Okay, now this is the last step. Because we've got two ends here, we got to figure out how we're going to do this. So we're going to take this, and this is how you do a mitered border. You're going to flip that underneath and go straight up. Not that much, though.
Isn't that just special?
Isn't that special?
And if you notice that those two ends
Right
are
here.
now lining perfectly up with each other.
Yep, those two sides are supposed to line up. So this, in essence, you have just made a picture frame around this, the back side of your quilt, or your placemat. Okay, now, because we're done, I don't need to worry about it going anyplace. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to, did you see how I just did that? Did you see how I did? Okay, grab it so it doesn't move around. Stick a pin in it like this. Okay, grab the corner. Don't let it flop around. And don't worry about this inset corner right now. We'll fix that when we get to the machine. And then we're going to flip it like that. All right? The reason I did that is so it doesn't get all tangled and knotted up when you go to the ironing board. So if you were doing 4 of these, you would sit down and you would make 4 of these lovely little things. All right? Now we are going to go to the machine. Okay? And I really did not dress for this, so don't get my... Okay. And I did not put thread in the machine, so that was probably not a good move. So we will put thread in the machine.
Professional act today.
Oh, and it really doesn't matter what color your thread is within reason. All right, so we're just going to... And Marty, you did not give me back the knee lift. Sorry, hang on. Talk amongst yourself for a minute.
Oh, we're just going to pause.
Okay, sorry, we had to go get the knee lift. And I have to take my glasses off. All right. You know, they can put a man on the moon, but they can't give me glasses that I can see up and down. That's just my little rant for today. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've got my machine threaded with thread. So what I've got, I just took that pin out and I flipped it over, so now everything is nice where it's supposed to be. Remember, everything was supposed to be lined up straight. Excuse me. If you, hang on just a second, this is a really special, where did it go? Oh, wait, hang on. Hang on. Sorry. If last week you purchased, or you had 2 weeks ago, you have one of our wonderful little sticky stitch, whatever the heck they're called, the stiletto thing on the end, good way to, now is the time to use it. All right. If you see, hopefully you can see that there's a crease mark there. That's where we ironed it. That's going to be our stitch line. Now, one of the things I really strongly recommend is when you start stitching, don't start off here and go down. Because what's going to happen is when you clip your threads, you're going to have those little teeny tiny threads there, and that's annoying. So what I do is I start stitching here. I go 1, go back, and then go forward. All right? It's stupid. It's silly. Yeah, it's stupid and it's silly, but it's just a good thing to do. So a couple forward, go back, and I like to go right off the edge, and we're done with that now. So we are just going to go around, and you don't have to back stitch on the end, it's going to be in a seam. So this way, when you go to trim your threads, they're back here. So you don't have to worry about those little fuzzies, all right? You do have to worry about non-sharp scissors though. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next, because remember we have 4. So no, but I just want to show you. So I'm going to, here's my pin. I'm just going to hold on to that little corner, stick my pin in here. Now, if it's not perfect, and if I want to go from this end, it doesn't matter which end you go from. When it gets up here, I just want to make sure those things are lined up straight. And that's where you can fudge it a little bit if you were having difficulties. And again, going this way, you want to go off and then go back a couple stitches. And that way, again, the ends of your threads are here. And then you're going to trim off, you know, your 1/4 inch, get rid of that excess. So you will go around and you will do all 4 of those. And then we're going to go back to the ironing board. And after you do what I just did, you have what looks like this. Or that's the front of it. All your miters are nice, nicely sewn. Now, one of the things she does differently than the way I do it, and I think I started talking about it and then I digressed. Remember the first step I showed you where you fold on the 1/4 inch? She doesn't have you do that. She leaves this out. And when you sew this seam, she has you stop a 1/4 inch so it's open. And then when you get to this point, she has you fold it under. I don't understand why, but again,
I like it.
Didn't like it, didn't do it. Happy with this way. So we have our beautiful little frame now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our trimmed mat and we are going to put wrong side up again. But now we're going to go right sides together. Right, actually, it's the right side of our faux binding and the wrong side. Now, the other thing you have to be very careful about doing is you should do this, I guess you could say custom. Every top, you should do this one for that. In case if your tops aren't perfectly the same size, this is not going to fit. If you do all these the same, so make sure you do match them. And a frame for a mat, custom fit them, kids. Because I don't know if I custom did this one. It may or may not fit. But anyways, you will get the gist. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay that on there. Yep. And we're going to pin this all the way around. Nice and straight. I thought I had this step done, but obviously not. But again, you're going to pin it. You don't have to put 101 in it. Yeah, I thought I did, but obviously I didn't. Yes, I had done that one. So you're going to pin this all the way around. And then what you're going to do is you're going to stitch all the way around it. Now, when I stitch something like this, I start at the beginning and I go right off the end, flip it around and keep going. Go right off the edge. You don't have to come in a 1/4 inch or anything like that. So once you have that done, then what we're going to do is we're going to turn that. I didn't get to do a big reveal here. It was like that. You turn it all the way around, and that's what you end up having. So you've brought that faux binding frame to the front. So now we have our cardinals are framed with our red. So again, the next step you would do is you would edge stitch, and I just didn't take the time to do that today. But I would put the gold thread that Marty used for her quilting here, and you would edge stitch it right along. Top stitch it, yeah. And remember, because of the fact that we've already folded that under, it's all ready for you. So you would edge stitch it, top stitch around here, and then it's up to you if you want to stitch it out here. That is a choice. I don't think it makes a difference one way or the other. So then when it's done, your back will just have this nice rectangular stitch line on it, and Bob's your uncle, as we are fond of saying, you have a table runner or a placemat.
Et voila.
And voila. How easy is this to do? It's really pretty fail-safe. It's very hard to make a mistake on this. As I say, the download will be on the website, and you can do again, you know how I am. You could do Christmas on one side, you could do fall on the other side. It doesn't matter. Because if you do a good job, you're not going to see the fold over on the back. If you do a good job. All right. So that's what but let's go back now to starting out. When we had this pattern that we wanted to do for Christmas in August last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever when it was anymore.
Last week.
This is the pattern that we had gotten. And this is put out by Bird Brain Design. Now, when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, they just did the little stitching and then they put a border on it and a backing and turned it. Well, no, what they do is you've got your stitching and then they wrap it around a piece of cardboard and then they glue it onto a wool square for the backing. So when I realized that, I started thinking, humph, I wonder if we could use this technique for this pattern. So I started doing a bunch of stitching. And if you're not a red work fanatic, you can do green work. You could do blue work. This one is going to be all red. I have to do the Snow Happens. This one, and these are all out of this pattern. There's 12 different ones, I think. I think. This one, because I just can't stand not to do red, white, and blue, I'm going to be doing like a gold star and whatever. And then this one I didn't cut. And also, remember how we always talk about the transferees? What I did is I took all of those, I made a copy onto my transferees. So that's on all of these. So now I'm just to the point where I just have to rinse that and dissolve it off there, and these will be ready to go. And then this was actually my first one I did. And then I decided, okay, let's go back to this table runner, placemat. And this is what I made using that technique. And is that not cute? It was a little bit of tight quarters, but I did the same exact thing. I did my stitching, like I did on this red one, and then I put my little bit of batting and backing, and then this took some finagling, but now I know what it is, and I'll put it, well, I'm just going to tell you. I cut this 1.5 inches, and that was too big. I think I ended up cutting it 1.25 inches. I hope that that's what it was. And you're going to do the same exact thing. I pressed my 1/4 inch down. You're going to go like this. Nope, I'm sorry. Up, around. So you do the same thing. You make your little frame, stitch it on, flip it up. And this one I did edge stitch it down. And isn't that cute? And I had some of this silver cording, whatever, in the junk drawer. Made a couple knots, stitched them on. And isn't that cute? You could make hundreds of these between now and Christmas if you wanted to. Not that you want to. My one finger is starting to bend to the one side. But what a nice technique that we use for this placemat. Follow it through with this. You could use them for mug mats. You could do anything you want. On these,
it's an alternative to a binding. You get that framed look rather than just a binding.
I think it's a finished look.
Yeah.
It's a much nicer finished look. You don't have the leave an opening and turn it type of deal. This is what.
Shark teeth.
What?
Shark teeth.
Shark teeth?
That's what I did out of the thing. When you try to do it on the
Oh,
side,
that's
it
what
looks
you
like
said.
somebody took a shark
A bite out of it. Okay. If you want to do these in not just red, this is my favorite red. That's what I used on that. I like to use blue for winter type of things. Get your threads out. Use something different. It does not have to just be red.
So the blue was the M68.
This is M43.
Let me, because it doesn't say.
Oh,
there's no tag on that one.
that's why I said that.
M43, and this one is 039.
That's a new one, I think.
Yeah,
I think
more of a hunter green, which is
yes, yeah. It doesn't show up hugely on this, but it'll be nice when it's finished. So anyways, now that I've gone slowly, I think, we decided to do kits for these. And in the kits, we're going to include the pattern, a sheet of, were we going to put the wait a minute, I got to get my paper. No, we weren't. No, we weren't. No, we weren't. We were going to do a fat quarter of the background, a fat quarter or enough of the stabilizer. Right. I can't remember the name of. Shape Flex, thank you. So a fat quarter of the Shape Flex, the pattern, and it was going to be $20. So we were not including because it would be hard to fold that up into that little spot. So that's why we decided not to. But if you've got transfers at home, use it. Pull it out and use it. I think, kids, that's all for this week. Next week will be Labor Day weekend. So we will be taking off. We will not be doing tidbits on that week. It'll be the Tuesday after Labor Day. We are going to give Beth a break, the poor thing. Okay?
Give us a break. Are you kidding me? Give us a break.
Give us a break too. Yep. But boy, did we get a lot done. Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.